Hey guys, thanks for clicking the link. And you're gonna be thanking me later. I've got about 2 hours worth of information that I'm gonna hopefully be able to put in just a few minutes. So bear with me throughout the entirety of this video. You could go back to the blog that I've included with it as well, with a little more detail as far as anything that you might want to challenge that comes out of these lips over the next few minutes. First of all, my name is Dennis Hubbard. I am a thought leader on this subject. I've been dealing with credit for a long time. Matter of fact, I'll just self-profess that there's probably not been one human being that's looked at more credit bureaus than me. Anyway, so this subject of the new Ultra FICO, you get some of my mortgage brokers and affiliates say, "Hey, Dennis, what's your take on this? What do you think? Is this something we need to be concerned about, or what do we need to do to prepare?" A lot of experts out there have said that they didn't think that this FICO, like so many others in the past, were going to take. I think this one's going to take, and I'm going to tell you why. The others in the past were changing the algorithm as an entirety. This one's not. The algorithm's staying the same. The same FICO that the bank's been using is going to stay the same. This is simply going to enhance the score. And I'm going to tell you, too, everything that you've been hearing about the new FICO has been, unicorns and rainbows, okay? It's been very positive. And so, not to be a naysayer, just kind of a negative nanny on this deal, but listen, there's some things here that needs to be talked about, and I'm going to tell you. After you're going to understand more on why they're going to push this, and they're going to push it hard. For the first time, we have the GSEs and everybody backing this, and so for that reason, I think this is going to take as well. I'm going to explain a little more in the blog on why some of the new algorithms never took in the past. It'll make a lot of sense, and it has to do with monetizing the portfolios that are out there. But in this case, the score's not so much changing; it's just being enhanced option. All right. One of the things that they're doing is selling this to sell this score. And why are they selling it? Because you have to option in, okay, in order for them to use the enhancement. They're saying, okay, if you're a person that doesn't have a credit score, you don't have a lot of credit history, or you're a person that doesn't really use credit cards or use your credit much, this is for you. Because for the first time, they're able to take other financial factors like your income, your checking account history, how much you keep in the savings, how long you've been with that checking account, and of course your history with that account, and your health with that overall accounts. They're going to be able to incorporate this for the first time into the scoring process. It's never been done before. This is why there's no income influence on the credit score. There's nothing that indicates what a person's income is, or how much money they have, or their actual spending habits other than credit related. Why? 1974, we had the Privacy Act that our forefathers fought hard to protect, and even protecting us against the government. Matter of fact, that was the number one thing, is that there's not some database they can easily just tap into to find out where our money is and how much we have at any point. They can't. There's different protocols they have to go through to do that. Matter of fact, there is no database out there and I know we see these things on TV where they're able to just pop it up. No, there's no database out there that just quickly that you can quickly refer to. There might be now. Okay. And so they want you to option in order to volunteer this information, right? So that then they can then include this into the algorithm. They tell us that it's a great thing, that it's not only going to be able to give us a score if we don't have one, but it could take us, it's going to take us to that next level if we're coming in short. All right. All right. So here's the red flags, warning, caution. Okay, coming out. So real quickly, first of all, you're handing over your information to companies that were part of the largest hack our history has ever known. Right, less than 2 years ago. Equifax got hacked, and everybody and their dog still has your Social Security number and your date of birth. They didn't get it back, right? So they didn't recover that information they had. It's still out there. And that wasn't the first time they got hacked. That's what's crazy to me. So now we're going to hand them over our financial credentials as well, on our savings and our checking accounts and everything else. That's pretty spooky in itself, right? The other scary thing is that, we're talking about how this is going to enhance the score. What happens? What if it's the other way around? What if we don't have a good history with our checking account? What if we haven't had it for very long, or we've had some overdraft? Well, this is going to drop you. And I had an opportunity to dig into this thing deeper. And so they're telling you about all the good stuff, the unicorns and rainbows, but they're not telling you about the other edge of this double-bladed knife, right? So when 75, so listen up, mortgage brokers, 75% of the people, Americans out there, live paycheck to paycheck, regardless of their credit score, regardless of their income level. That's a proven statistic. And so there's really a good chance that this is actually going to lower more scores than it's going to help, right? I mean, so again, if you have an overdraft at any point, or you don't keep a savings, or you don't have a good average balance that you keep in your checking account, this is probably not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. And the fact that you optioned in the information, you know, is that now going to apply to every loan going forward? I don't know. We're going to see how that works going forward. I've heard different rumors in that fact. Either way, it's a slippery slope. All right. The other thing I want to talk to you about is we are handing over. Okay, well, first let's back up a couple of steps. Credit bureaus sell your information. If you don't know this, they do. I've got blogs written on this. Check it out. Credit bureaus sell your information. That's why we have the option to option out. If we don't, marketers and whatnot have pre-screened information that they send you these pre-approvals and things on, right? But some of the biggest clients of the credit bureaus are actual collection agencies that use that same information. They're purchasing the same information to prioritize their collectors, their debt, right? In other words, instead of spending all this time and money collecting these thousands and thousands of people that they're not going to get the money from, there's algorithms that FICO and Experian have put in place that will help that collection agency trigger the likelihood of that person paying. For example, and again, I got a blog on this, but for example, we call it a trigger lead. You go to apply for a mortgage. The collection agency sees is triggered by the inquiry that the mortgage company made. They're triggered by it. And they say, oh, look at there. It looks like John is trying to buy a house. Well, John has an old debt from 6 years ago that I bet he'll pay me now. And they buy up the debt, or they still own it, and it prioritizes the debt. And there they are, and you pay it, right? And or you go to pay off an old debt, and next thing you know, the rest of them are calling you. How do they know? Well, that information's being sold to them. Or it's even they even have softwares out there that they're prescribed to that's basically feeding that real-time information to them. Okay, it's not conspiracy. This is happening. The other thing is FICO, who is in the analytics and business of telling you the likelihood of a person paying you back based on all these statistics, are also in the collection business. They're selling these programs and these formulas to help people to be able to prioritize this debt. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hand these same people our financial information now. Now not only do they know who to call and when to call, they're actually going to know where to get the money. Okay, and I don't think it's a coincidence that earlier this year, you guys might have heard this, I'm surprised it wasn't just all over the news, but it's on the news, you can Google it, where public records on your credit bureaus are no longer showing, other than bankruptcies. There's no tax liens, there's no judgments that are reporting on your credit reports. I can't count to you how many people are going, oh, well, it just fell off my credit. It fell off because they don't report it anymore, but it's still there. And here's the problem with that. And they said, oh, this is going to help raise credit scores. This is going to stimulate the economy and all that. Man, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But just last week, we had a client who they put their contract on their house and had their pre-approval, had been shopping, saved up their money. And right before they were closed, the mortgage broker still has to go into, there's other databases that they had to go into and pull up, and sure enough, he had a judgment. And they're like, hey, you got a judgment. You got to take care of this before you close. And the whole deal unwound because of this. It's happening. It's happening numerous times. So people that were under the rock because they had these tax liens or these collections are coming out from under the rock, aspiring to be a homeowner, which is fantastic, thinking that this debt went away, and only for their dreams to crush, and everybody wasted a lot of time once they pulled that information back up. So again, Google that. But I don't think it's a coincidence that now all of a sudden, the same scenario, the customer goes to the mortgage broker, gets their credit pulled, they trigger off the inquiry, right? Has his money saved up in the bank account, has to have it in there 90 days before they close. That's law. And now with the new Ultra FICO, not only does that collector, whether it's the federal government, the IRS, or whether it's a collection agency or somebody that has a judgment on that person, now they know where to get the money and how much he has, and says, hey, thanks for saving that money up for us and putting it in a nice little warm place. And you basically just handed them a package. It's going to be the greatest collection trap that the world has ever owned. Now, I don't know if that's what their intentions are, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to help. It's going to help influence this thing to happen. Okay, and so anyway, red flags. You guys can call that a conspiracy, but I'll let you fill in those blanks yourself. And again, I encourage you to read the rest of the information on my blog. So what do we do? What do we do? First of all, don't option in on this. You don't need it. Fix your credit in another way to where you don't need that. All right, I'll help you do that. The other thing I want you to do is I then want you to option out. So you have to option in for the ultra part of this, but I need you to option out with the 3 credit bureaus. Tell them, the credit bureaus, it's not okay to sell my information. All right? Because let me tell you, the collection agencies are the ones that are watching you, and so once we take that away from them, that's going to minimize them knowing what you're doing from one day to the next. Oh, by the way, hit the link and it'll take you right to it. I've included a link to where you can option out literally in just within a couple of minutes, okay? If most of your option outs, depending on how you did it, was 5 years, okay? There's ways to do it to make it permanent. So if you're not sure, or if it's been over 5 years ago, do it again, okay? Do it again. Encourage you to do that. Now, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your clients, okay? And as we progress through this ultra and we find out a little more information, well, I'll share a little bit more with you. Again, it's a slippery slope. I hope this helps. Any questions? I love talking about this stuff. Give me a shout. Talk to you soon.